is plenty of footy news kicking about. So, from afl.com.au, we are joined by Josh Gabelich Limo.
We are indeed. And Josh, did I just hear someone say this as we were coming out of the song, Eye of the Tiger?
Yes.
Did someone just say there's another injury at Hawthorn?
Yes, Limo, we'll get to that. Another key defender
God.
down.
No, there's no more key defenders.
There's no
but
more-
let's get to this big news. Hello, Josh. I've never met you.
Good to be with you, Bill.
Good-looking man. How old are you?
That's a personal question.
Yeah. Girlfriend? Married?
Engaged.
Well done.
Thank you.
All right.
Any more personal questions?
Oh, I've never met the man. It's good to meet
You
him.
can do this off air.
Works for the AFL. Taron Thomas. Now, I just read here that he's not a North Melbourne player anymore and is not playing in 2024. But you're going to extend this news by saying...
Well, it's big, Bill. This has just dropped from the AFL. They've confirmed the 18-game suspension, but they've gone past that. He's not eligible to play AFL football at any level this year, which means he can't get picked up in the mid-season draft because North Melbourne this afternoon have parted ways with him. He's been sacked. They've moved past him.
Been sacked.
They haven't used that word, but
Right.
phrase it however you like.
Yeah.
He's no longer a North Melbourne player after a long time at that club. This is on the back of multiple indiscretions. He's had this month-long investigation dating back to mid-January, and we knew early in the week it was going to be around 18 weeks.
Yeah.
The AFL's confirmed that only a matter of minutes ago. But the wrinkle here is he can't play at AFL level at all this year.
This year. And he was out of contract at North this year.
Correct?
And so they've said, no, you're not with us anymore. So that will be interesting. So Limo asked this during the break. He could come back and play after his 18-week suspension for another club or another league.
I believe he can play at state league level after July 22nd.
Right.
So that would be 18 AFL games.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot to play out here. Todd Viney is speaking at 4:45 this afternoon. So we'll find out a little bit more about it. But Jen Watt, the CEO of North Melbourne, was involved in the press release and just explained that they've got to this point after working with him for a long period of time. And this latest indiscretion has forced their hand.
Righto.
And that's going to be career over, surely. Bill, put yourself on the board of the other 17 clubs. Are you going to look at recruiting Taron Thomas next year?
I'll have a chat to him in July. I'll just see how he is, how fit he is, all that. You'd sit down there.
Well, Tyson Stengel's the example, Bill.
Yeah.
Different situation, of course, but sacked from the Adelaide Crows, had 12 months in the Sandful, becomes an All-Australian and a Premiership player.
That's right.
So different circumstances, but we have seen it happen in the past.
But also, you've got to look after him. You just can't cut him, can you? North Melbourne just can't cut him. They're going to have to look after him, make sure he is okay.
I'm sure they will. I think
Exiting
Todd
the
Viney
club.
will explain
Yeah.
that this afternoon.
Exactly, that's what they'll do. Some practice games today. What did you see, Carlton Geelong? Oh, the Cats, how good did they look, Josh?
They were good, Bill, but the bad news from a Geelong perspective
Oh, no.
was 6 seconds into the game, Cam Guthrie went straight off the ground and didn't come through the interchange bench. He went off the far side, straight into the Geelong rooms. He's got a quad injury. And you've got to remember, he played just 6 games last year. We haven't seen him since round 6. He got back and played a game late in the VFL season, had the full preseason, went all the way to Oregon and spent 3 months in the States.
And he
at the end of
lasted
last year.
6 seconds.
6 seconds.
Like
So-
you, Limo.
I wish, Bill.
That is unbelievable because he's so keen on playing. He just couldn't wait to play a game. As you said, he'd been overseas. He'd been pre-season. So that is disappointing. That's a good win by the Cats. Some young kids there playing.
Jai Clark played, Bill.
Yes.
Tanner Bruin, Max Holmes. So a really young-looking midfield, which is pretty exciting. We haven't seen a lot of Jai Clark. He only played that quarter last year after being a top 10 pick. So he's shown some growth over the summer.
Ollie
Dempsey
Dempsey.
took a big grab and looked quite good. And the two tools, Toby Conway, who made his debut in the last round of last season, was impressive, and so was Shannon Neal. So some of that, some of those tools that we haven't seen for a while.
Big boy, Shannon Neal. He's huge.
Yeah.
So, but also for Carlton, Harry Mackay was clunking a few. He sprayed a few, but he was marking them. And Charlie Curnow was looking good. Who else for Carlton did you like
Ashton
there?
Moyer was one, Bill. So this time last year, he was considered a top 5 prospect, and he drifted throughout the year. He didn't have a great top age year and went picked 29 last year, but he's an outside chance to debut in the opening round. So really like his performance today. You touched on Harry Mackay.
Yeah.
He had about 5 or 6 shots a goal,
did.
kicked 2. I think the goal kicking narrative is going to be part of the story again with Harry Mackay.
Oh, he shanked a shocker in front too.
Now, the Carlton faithful, they're expecting to play in a grand final this year. They're very worried about Sam Walsh. What's the latest on Sam Walsh?
Well, Limo, we're still waiting to find out if he'll be available for the opening round. Only a couple of weeks to go, but we do know he won't play next week as well. So he won't have any practice match under his belt. I think he's in doubt for the start of the season. It's a really tight turnaround between that game and the round one clash against Richmond as well. So it could be for the third year in a row that Sam Walsh starts the season on the sidelines, which is a big blow. And you think about his back history. He had back surgery just over 18 months ago, so it is a concern for the young gun.
Yeah, they turned up the heat. He tried to go another rung, didn't he? And it just had to pull it back. Hey, what about North? You went and watched North Melbourne Collingwood. Nice win by North Melbourne there. It's only pre-season. We're not taking too much out of it. But after the break, you're going to tell us about this new North ball, Josh.
Yeah, George Wardlaw termed it yesterday.
All right, don't say
And
anything more.
another big injury at the Hawks as well. More Josh
No,
Gabelich from
no.
AFL.com.au
No.
next on Triple M's Rush Hour. Bill and Lemo. Plenty of footy news to get through, Lemo. Let's start with another injury at your club.
Yeah, can we clear this up, please, Josh? You're not serious, are you?
No, it's been a really bad week, Lemo, for your football club. Another key defender down. Now, Will McCabe wasn't going to play early in the year, but
Now,
a
Will McCabe's injured.
father-son recruit,
Yes,
God.
really highly rated, clearly.
very highly.
He's going to be sidelined for 3 months with
What's he done?
Well, don't tell me
got-
glandular fever. He's been kissing Dylan Moore.
no. There is a bit of glandular fever going around the competition at the moment, Bill.
Turf toe.
No, he's got a back issue, stress-related issue in his back, so he's ruled out. The good news, though, Lemo, is that Will Day's out of the moon boots, which
Oh, good.
no
Good.
timeline yet, but the feel is that he'll be back in that first month of the year. So you can rule him out of round 1. Will he get back round 2, round 3? Who knows, but definitely by round 4 at this point.
Could a list spot open up for me, Josh,
Not
if
bother
these
looking.
injury woes continue?
No, but they did pick Ethan Phillips over the weekend, and he's going to play tomorrow. So there's every chance that the SSP signing could be there in round 1, which would be quite remarkable.
Play down back.
Key defender out of the VFL.
Use his kicking.
Yep.
Now, tell us what North Ball is.
Well, we heard from George Wardlaw yesterday. He was really exciting. Only played the first half. It's a really run and gun sort of approach. And
Right.
they were really exciting yesterday, Bill. I don't know if you saw too much of what was going on
You
at
tell
the
me.
Collingwood Football
Tell
Club.
me, Joshua.
But Colby McKercher was their
Yeah.
pick number 2 last year.
Doesn't he look good?
Wait till you see him at this next level, because yesterday he's just got this range of kicks, just a really deft left foot. Doesn't use his right foot, but his left foot is magnificent. So him and Harry Sheasel played on the halfback flank. We're going to see them play there all year. Really exciting combination. We haven't seen Zane Dersma just yet. He missed yesterday, but Nick Larkey was the one. If you're starting to think about Coleman medal contenders, had a great year last year, with
Yes.
a breakout year, All-Australian for the first time. Kicked 5 goals
Yeah.
yesterday and was really dominant. Paul Curtis kicked 3. They just look really exciting. A lot more depth with the likes of Tom Power, Charlie Lazaro. These mids that have been around for a while showing quite a bit. And Tristan Cherry, obviously no Todd Goldstein anymore.
No.
He's got that number 1 ruck mantle, and he was the best ruckman on the ground yesterday.
Was
So
he? Who was he up against? Who'd Collingwood have?
Darcy Cameron
Oh, yeah.
and Mason Cox. So he was really strong. But I think Colby McKercher is probably the big story at the moment, because we're thinking about rising star contenders. He's going to be right there, I think, come September, alongside George Wardlaw, who's eligible after not playing more than 10 games
yes.
last year, and Zane Dersma, of course. So I think North Melbourne supporters are going to have a lot of fun going to the footy this year after a real miserable 4 or 5 years.
So North could do a bit of damage. Now, no one's seen as much pre-season as you have,
No.
Josh. Which team do you expect to make the big leap this year? We know it happens every year. One team comes from out of the top 8 and they launch into the 8 and surprise everyone. If you had to pick a team to do that this year, who would you say?
Well, I'm going to pick the Adelaide Crows, and I haven't seen them up close, but I just feel the build that they've been on for quite some time, they're going to make that rise from missing out on finals since the 2017 grand final. I think finally they're ready, Lemo. In terms of the Victorian clubs I've seen up close, I was really impressed with Hawthorn up until the past week. It's really taken the sting out of the Hawks and what they could achieve this year. And the Western Bulldogs are the
Yes.
most fascinating.
Well, you went away with them.
I
You're on,
did.
you're on camp
Yeah, I went up
with
to
them.
Mooloolaba for 4 or 5 days, which wasn't a bad
Bit wet.
gig. It was wet early, and then the sun came out. It was really humid, as you can imagine, at this time of year, but saw plenty up close. And they're an interesting club, given everything that's transpired
Yes.
since the end of last season. A lot of changes in around Luke Beveridge, with Matt Egan coming across from Geelong, Jaron Geary, Alex Johnson, Daniel Pratt. So many new faces in and around him. They're hopeful that it might have the impact that it had at Richmond back in 2016, when all the assistants changed around Damien Hardwick. Time will tell, but it does feel like a really different Football Club, and they've got some new faces with Riley Sanders, who's going to be another one of the players that we're tracking this year for the Rising Star, and James Harms has come across, Nick Caulfield's come across. It's a really different looking team.
Hey, how's Ben Mackay going at Essendon?
He's going okay. He's done most of the pre-season. Like a lot of people, looking forward to seeing how he tracks in the match sim. They've got St Kilda tomorrow, so we'll get a really good read on where he's at. But Essendon have gone under the radar just a little bit in terms of their recruits, but I think we'll get a really good look at them across this next fortnight heading into round one.
What about Sydney? Brodie Grundy and Taylor Adams. They played today. Limo was up there. Logan McDonald kicked 4.
Kick 4.
That's
yeah.
good news.
Really impressive from him. Obviously, a lot of interest in him given where he was taken in the draft, given his contract status, being a West Australian. They're going to come for him this year. But Brodie Grundy's the big talking point, given what's transpired since he left Collingwood. Had a really difficult year at Melbourne last year. He looms as the potential recruit of the year, given what Sydney need and where they fit in the premiership race this year. So he's had a great pre-season to date. We are getting to the business end of the pre-season, and it was really impressive from what I've seen today. I haven't seen the full game just yet, but a great start to him.
Oh, that little SCG will be good for him.
Yeah, I think so.
He'll have a good year. I reckon he'll be outstanding.
Taylor Adams, I think, is going to be an underrated recruit there, especially with no Cal Mills for the first 10 to 12 weeks of the season. So I think they've recruited quite well.
Now, Josh Gabelich, isn't it?
Yes.
Which is a famous name at Collingwood, of course. And your grandfather?
Yep.
Kicked a magnificent goal after running, some people say 100, 150 metres. I think it was about 30 metres. But have a listen to this audio we've found, Joshy boy.
Collingwood through Tuddenham picking up the ball, putting it down to Gabelich. Gabelich is running into an open goal. There's no one within Dewey. A straight kick, and he'll put it through. And Collingwood.
So Gabelich or Gabelich? Oh, so the commentator got it wrong.
You got it wrong. That's right.
Hey, what year was that, Josh?
That was 1964 Limo, and to put them in front, and then a back pocketer from Melbourne kicked his first goal of the season to pinch it for the D's.
Fair income in 64.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. And you haven't been following Collingwood ever since because you wouldn't have been born. But you're a Collingwood boy?
I am. I didn't have a choice, Bill.
Yes, but not too worried about the other day. It's only first practice game. You had about 12 out, didn't you, from the premiership side?
Yep, that's right. That's right. So you don't get too concerned at this time of year.
Anyone stick out? Lockie Schultz or someone who stuck out for the Collingwood boys?
Jordan De Goey was
he's a
awesome in the
beast.
first half. He came off at halftime just as planned, and Isaac Quaino was awesome. So, yeah, they're tuning up quite nicely out there.
All right, then. Hey, good work,
They
Joshy.
could go back to back, Bill. That'd be horrible, wouldn't it?
No, it'd be great.
Oh, listen to Rabs. He's a mad Collingwood. Hey, thank you, Josh. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you back this year.
Absolutely.
One of Jay's boys. We'll see Joshy boy back. Don't worry about that.
Josh Gabelich from AFL.com.au on the Rush Hour. Bill and Limo, Triple M.